All right, we're live. So we're gonna be into the time here a little bit. I have a new 9:30 call that is gonna last about 15, 20, 25 minutes. So it's gonna go basically live on Monday as soon as I can. But yeah, so I hope everyone had a really happy New Year and are off to your kind of 2022 mindset about Google Ads. So yeah, a lot of good changes coming, I think, from Google themselves. I like the this year we're going to have, no more expanded text ads. Those are going away kind of permanently. The responsive search ads are going to be taking over. Broad match modified has been dead and gone for some time. But what I want everyone to kind of focus on is going to be leaning into more automations. And I know that that's going to be a scary thought, but Google, when you see kind of behind the scenes what they've been doing more and more and more, Google has been advancing their AI so much recently that it's getting to the point where traditional marketing type of traditional type of Google Ads mindsets are just not going to be the case anymore. Hey, happy New Year. Happy New Year, Captain. Thank you. Appreciate it. Happy New Year to you too. But the traditional, like, hey, which ad copy is working? Well, it's not necessarily going to be ad copy too much. It's going to be a little bit more based off of automations. What does Google like, and what is people reacting to, and is that being pushed rather than just kind of, hey, let's add a budget here, let's crank it up, and let's see how that does and pull back. Google is going to be taking over a little bit more and more, and rather than kind of fighting it, because I think that the people that lean into that is going to win. The people that are kind of trying to fight it and do more traditional like A/B tests, you still do experiments and that kind of stuff, but leaning into a little bit more of the leveraging that automation and making it work for you more often than not, I think is going to allow you to become the victor. So as being said, when we're going into the kind of 2022 mindset and seeing what kind of changes Google has in store for us, and then watching the Google, the live view or the big, what's it called? Like big seminar that they do every single year. It's going to be exciting to see what this year has to bring. So happy New Year to everyone. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions? I know this is an odd time. I'm about 25 minutes late from when I usually go live, but I wanted to finish up that call and then hop on here. And Mondays are just going to be a little bit of an oddity here now. Might be changing the date or the time when I go live. I'll be shooting more videos now. That's going to be my New Year's resolution, is making time to shoot more videos. So I'm going to try to keep my calendar a little more clear, so I can have some time to hop on and help everyone out and actually kind of show everyone what we're doing. It's going to be some exciting stuff. Let's see here. I think we have 7 people here. This is going to kind of be more of a Q&A stuff. So if we have anybody that has any questions, usually this thing fills up pretty quickly. And I know that it's probably an odd time, so people might just be finding out that we're going live now. But yeah, if anybody has any kind of questions that I can help with, I'm here to answer them. The kind of an update on Performance Max. Performance Max Waleed, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. The thing with Performance Max, lead generation still is terrible, but one thing that Google has announced is that Performance Max is going to be able to have a new customer acquisition goal that is going to be able to leverage. So it's kind of like the same way that Smart Shopping can see what new customers versus returning customers. We're going to actually have that inside of Performance Max, which I think could potentially be a game changer, because the issue with Performance Max that we've been seeing is that it's essentially, how do I describe this? It's going after brand traffic a little bit too much for some campaigns, to the point that it's making us look really good, but is not performing as well for the client. ROAS all of a sudden shoots up double, and that's just simply because people that are Googling brand name are coming through the Performance Max. So it says in the next few months, and that was in November. So we got December, January, hopefully sometime before the end of February, we'll have that. And that's going to be a really cool update video that I'll be able to share with everyone. Stefan, how can I make Google spend more on a very profitable campaign with a 2K per day budget, a T ROAS of 2.3, campaign is hitting 2.7 ROAS with $700 a day only? So, what I would say is right now the T ROAS is limiting it. T ROAS is not to be used long term. TROAS will sort of limit the size of the audience that you're going to go after. And what that means is that Google says, hey, I know these people are going to convert based on these factors. Now, if the campaign has not been running too long, like a year, without a TROAS, it says, okay, I have a finite audience of people that I know I can convert, but the amount of money that I can spend on these people is X amount of dollars. Because remember, a lot of it is inbound. So it's relying on those people to search inbound when it has that core audience that it knows. Now, if those people don't search or it's a little bit slow, Google's going to say, well, I could show up for that person, but I'm not sure if that person is going to convert at least a 2.3. So let's just hide. Let's hold off. And let's not earn that person's click. So don't bid too high. So what I would recommend is actually either reducing the TROAS or removing it completely. And what I would do is if you're spending $700 a day now and you have a 2K day budget, take your $700 a day, move that up to $900, and simply just turn off the TROAS. Because that's what it's going to do is it's going to try to make it spend about 20% more than what it normally will. And it's going to, and so that 20% kind of inefficiency, that expansion that it's going to look for is going to be used as an exploratory budget. It already knows where it can spend the 700. So if you turn off the TROAS, it's going to know where to spend the 700, but it's going to spend $1,300 more to reach that 2K per day budget. And that $1,300 is going to be more exploratory. It could be a 1.5, could be a 1.2 ROAS, which is an overall drop that ROAS too much. So what I would recommend is taking that $700 a day that you're spending right now, take your 2K, move it down to 9, which will cause it to spend $200 more, and then remove the TROAS, which will allow it to do so. And you're going to have your TROAS go from 2.7 down to 2.2, 2.4. So kind of right in that same sweet spot that you've been wanting, but it's going to start to spend more. And then leave that go and let that go for a sizable amount of time. If you see it start to overperform, where you see it like maybe get up into the 3s, then add it up to, let's go from 9 to 1100 and keep kind of walking your way back up there. TROAS again is usually like, if the campaign's performing, you just lock it in and say, one day this thing's just going to start to atrophy because I'm going to burn through that finite audience, then pull back off and then start to spend more again. So that's what I'd recommend is that's a way to kind of safely scale out of that TROAS type of compartment that you found yourself in. Adewale, I'm really hoping I'm pronouncing your name. I know I always get that wrong, but I just want to say thanks, man. My one product smart has been killing it. Happy New Year. Awesome. Congratulations. I'm so happy to hopefully I was a part of that somehow, and I hope I was. So congratulations. That's awesome. SMS, does that make sense? Good. Awesome. Yeah. Good luck with you. Dave, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Dave. I had a question I was going to ask you last year, but I forget. Oh, wait. When you have keywords that have been running, let's see. There it is. When you have keywords that have been running for months and get click traffic, but still have no quality score data, do you keep the keyword or remove it, assuming not a lot of conversions? Yeah, no. If the keyword's performing like above goal, I mean that's how I measure everything. Is it above or below goal? And if it's above goal, keep it, even if it gets a couple clicks a month maybe. But each little inkling helps. Sometimes you don't even know if that one those clicks came back 60 days later through a brand campaign. So as long as it's above goal, at least I'll usually keep it, even if it doesn't have any sort of quality score data. Google has just been horrible with quality score and even bounce rate for some reason. Some campaigns that have like a 2% bounce rate. I'm like, no, it's not possible. But unless it's kind of the spend and the CPA or the spend and the ROAS, if it's above goal, I'll usually keep it, even if it's low frequency or even no quality score data. A no quality score will not hurt. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind there. Waleed, can you tell me about your course with Digital Marketer, Paid Traffic Mastery? Is it for beginners, intermediate, or pros? What's funny is it's kind of for both. If it's interesting, it's not detailed. Like we don't walk through like press that button. It is a lot of theoretics, but it's a very specific theoretics. So as an example, when I shot the course I did the course for YouTube for Digital Marketer, and some things that you won't from a beginner to a pro. These are things that I'm sharing about learning from last year as an example. Using one campaign with one ad group with more than 25 videos is better than using 5 campaigns with 5 ad groups and 3 videos each. So leveraging all of those ways that Google is going to want to identify something, take it and start to launch it. versus, kind of the traditional way that people would normally set up a campaign. What campaigning strategies to start with and what to move into, when to move into, like identifying 0.50 CTRs and 20% or above watch rates. If you're a beginner, you can set up the right way. If you're a pro, it might give you a different way to think about things. So I would say that it's definitely good. It's kind of like no matter where you're at in your Google Ads journey, because I'm still learning, and I'm just sharing the stuff that I'm learning while I'm working with their algorithms. Whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or pro, it might give you a radically different way to think about how you're doing Google Ads. So I would say it's probably going to be worth it. I'm a big person to invest into education. We spent $10,000 with Digital Marketer our first year being an agency. And it's been the best thing that we've ever done. So just to say that I think that, if there's something there that you will learn, you'll more than likely make your money back with the money you would spend to take the course. That's how I would look at it. Militia, I'm so sorry. I'm horrible with names. Hi, John. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Our CPC for retargeting campaign for the client we chatted about, $1.5 to $1.6. Is that high? It's obviously display retargeting. Not necessarily. It depends on the industry and how many people those that you're remarketing for. Google price fixes, so it sort of dictates market spend as to what a CPC is. It's really horrible, but that's the way that it goes. What I would say for retargeting, I usually like to get super aggressive, but I also set up my retargeting really aggressively. What I mean by that is I exclude bouncers, so you have to be over 10 seconds on the site before I market to you. It needs to be visiting more than 2 pages. So if I'm saying if you've been on the site more than twice, you've stayed longer than 20 seconds, you've visited more than 2 pages, including a checkout page or a contact page, I'll pay $5 for that person to come back, because I know that that's going to be a lot more valuable. So don't necessarily dictate is the price worth it, but make sure you dictate is the results there. And am I willing to pay for a person this engaged, and then set up how engaged they are? So kind of reverse engineer it. If you're just doing normal, like, hey, if you've been to my site, I'm going to retarget you. Yeah, seems a little high. You could probably work that down by either changing a bidding strategy or changing your audience. I would pay $50, $60 if you've been to my site twice, visited more than 2 pages, and stayed longer than 20 seconds. I'd pay for that all day long. Especially because knowing that inbound search probably was $5 to $10 to bring them there in the first place. So it all depends. You have to kind of balance the results to who you're actually remarketing and if they're worth it. Let's see. Shandy, I'm struggling to find a job as a PPC executive specialist. I have been rejected because I don't have experience working with big budgets, plus 6 figures and more. Please, can you point me in the right direction? Shandy, if you want to reach out to Leandra, who is our or Santos. Actually, let me drop Santos's email here. He's our head of our specialist department, and speak to him. I'll put his email here in the chat. Santos, if you're watching, you're gonna have a new person reaching out to you. But our average client spends like $7,000 a month. We specialize in smaller businesses. The people that is what's funny is you give me an account with 6 figures, like $100K per month ad spend. I'm gonna make something work. I'm gonna spend probably $20,000 wrong in finding out that didn't work. The hard ones, if you have experience making small budgets work, you're a better Google Ads person than the people that make the big budgets work. In my opinion, big budgets are easy because something's gonna work. Small budgets are hard because it's like I need to make that dollar work, and if I can't, then I failed. But if you can make that work, then that's grow that into the 6 figure. That's easy. Just add more ad spend. But so yeah, reach out to Santos. He's our director of specialists. I think we have something like 25 specialists now. It's just insane how fast we're growing. And so reach out to him, and then yeah, you're very welcome. See if that's we're the right fit for you if you're interested. We're hiring, so it's good. Dave says, with Google's shopping ads, I have a customer that does custom shipping quotes because of the size of the furniture, but Google Shopping doesn't like it. They don't have a freight option. So if they don't have a freight option, what I've done before we got a freight option was have free shipping, let them check out, and then the client has to follow up with the customer to get shipping as a separate charge. It is a huge pain, but without a freight option, that was the only way that we could do it. They ship big exam lanes for ophthalmologists and optometrists, so thinking thousands and thousands of pounds, something about the size of a car. Honestly, it's about the size of an SUV, and we couldn't just add a cart and check out for an $80,000 product that weighs 5,000 pounds. So we had to either do free shipping, and then we put on the checkout page, you will be contacted for the cost of shipping. We did it that way. It actually turned into more of a lead generation campaign at that point, which is fine. They just started generating phone calls, and people were like, yeah, I'm interested in this product, but I don't know how much it's going to cost. And then they went through price quote and they closed it. And I ended up just arbitrarily adding $1,000 conversion value for every lead that was generated through the Google Smart Shopping campaign. So one way to do it, in case you want to kind of change it up a bit, make sure you give it an arbitrary value just so that Smart Shopping thinks it's making a ROAS for lead generation, but that does work. But without a freight option, I mean, it is the only way that we figured out how to do it. It's just not going to work. Holman, hi John. A product in my Smart Shopping, a product in my Smart Shopping has a product that got 3 sales, but are all identified by Shopify as potential fraudulent. Is it possible that Google is optimizing towards these high-risk orders? Yes, absolutely. Google is a dumb machine. It's smart, but it's dumb in terms of it just sees like a number go from 0 to 5, and it's like, that happened. That's why conversion tracking is so important. But but what I would say is take down ClickSeize. I do ClickSeize. ClickSeize is good because you'll identify a lot of the times what happens with fraudulent orders, if they're actually fraudulent. It comes from VPN traffic. ClickSeize automatically blocks VPN traffic first and foremost. So I like ClickSeize for that VPN traffic blocker, because that's where you get people from other countries that are using VPNs to then go to other countries to test to see if a credit card that they stole is active or not. And they hide themselves by coming through VPNs. So ClickSeize blocks VPNs immediately, which in turn should clean up that that data for you. But yeah, Google's going to see that and going to optimize towards it. So just know that that's going to happen. That's why ClickSeize, I think, could be a really good, or any sort of click fraud software. It doesn't have to be ClickSeize, but just someone that blocks VPN traffic. That's 95% of the time where we see it coming from. Thanks, Dr. Hats. Thank you. Love you too. Thank you, John, and your legend. Thank you, Shandy. That's hopefully this works out for you. Our Shopify store, we have implemented GA4 using Tag Manager. We are facing issues with deduplication of product purchase. Any suggestions? Not yet. I have the same issue at GA4. The only thing that we were able to come up with is using server-side and client-side instances, and then using the server-side because the client-side instances was running duplications. GA4, I know it doesn't segment by session, and that's a fallacy of Google Analytics, but it still worked better than GA4 just stringing together that user. So I don't like GA4 just yet. There's probably a lot of people that are way smarter than I am in analytics. I'm not an analytics expert. I don't use analytics for Google Ads because of that reason. I don't think that those two are using the same data. So GA4, I haven't dived deep into it, but that single event multi-session strung along, it still isn't perfect. So it's just kind of like a different way to break the system. So hopefully that doesn't, I know it doesn't provide an answer for you, but my recommendation would be continue to use UA or figure out a way to implement a server side and client side and identify just the server side, and the client side is going to be on all sorts of messed up. But yeah, the deduplication issue is something we're trying to work on too. Alicia, if that doesn't work, awesome. Yeah, if it doesn't work out, then Alicia, that's awesome. Yeah, let's get this person hired. Let's say, should we always do retargeting for e-commerce B2B? Yeah, you should always do retargeting. Just no matter what, always do retargeting. For our agency, as an example, we brought our CPA down in half with retargeting. It was like $600 for a lead from search. $12 for retargeting. So, and then it cut our CPA in half because it was so cheap for retargeting. I would absolutely retarget no matter what. Google didn't see. Dave says Google didn't get mad that you did free shipping and then said you are charging shipping on the page. No, on the page we actually charged zero shipping. And that's the thing too, is we did free shipping everywhere. We put a note on the checkout page that says you will be contacted for shipping cost. That turned out to be a nightmare for the client because the client would reach out to the customers like, hey, let's calculate the shipping. Like, wait, what? Now, it was a little bit easier for our client because she works with doctors. So the doctors aren't making like an impulse buy for product, and they just think like a lot of times they're going to understand I'm going to order $80,000 exam lane. So yeah, I know that shipping is going to be something, and I see that cost on there, and they were okay. Caused a little bit of headaches, and that's why they had to move towards a freight partner. And then we just imported the freight rates right into GMC, which worked perfectly. But that was the thing, is her customer base was of an elevated intelligence level that caused less headaches. And I don't mean to be condescending to anybody that might not be obviously a doctor. I'm not a doctor, but it just, it was easier for her. So that's just how that worked. But yeah, it's just, I would say that it's something that you had to charge zero shipping in GMC, zero shipping on the site. And just, they were like, for freight rates and setting up shipping costs, we will contact you. And so that was the issue. One, yay, first live of the year. It is. Hope you had a good time. I'm definitely having a great time. Hope you are too. Any insight on Performance Max campaigns integrating smart shopping? Yeah, so it's funny. Performance Max does have smart shopping built into it. That's part of it. It's called Performance Max for retail. Like if you launched Performance Max now, you will have smart shopping inside your Performance Max campaigns. But just know that it's going to be heavily brand, and it's going to steal from your brand campaigns too. So just because it has good performance doesn't mean it's like brand new cold traffic. I'm making a lot of ROAS. Look at analytics and be like, well, my direct and my organic and my brand campaign all have reduced by 50%, and this somehow increased by 100%. So just know you might be just like shifting audiences and looking like good performance. So just be very, very careful of that. How do you allocate budget between general, brand, general, competitive, retargeting when you only have $75 per day? I don't. I wouldn't run a brand. Let the brand come through your organic. Unless you need to protect your brand name, then put some small amount, like $5 to $7 a day. General, I run really, really heavy, so about $50 of that, and then I would leave the leftover $20 for retargeting. Don't run competitive just yet. Competitive is going to take a lot of ad spend in the beginning because you have to weed through kind of like the crap in order to find the good. What I mean by that is you might get some people that are like calling because they're wondering where the order is, but they didn't realize that they're calling you and not the competitor. Or they, you get a bunch of clicks and like, oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe I'll check it out later. And then it takes 2 to 3 months to work. So I wouldn't even run a competitive campaign under $50 a day. So just don't do it in a $75 per day. Run 80% general, split the rest of the 20%, like 5% brand, 15% retargeting. Start there. That'd be my setup. So Freight Partner would be a good solution. Yes. Yeah. Freight Partner can actually update the price of a product based on the feed's allocation of shipping weight, and it'll actually dynamically adjust the cost in GMC. So yes, Freight Partner, beautiful. And then just as long as your website is cheaper shipping than what GMC says, even if it's by $1, it can be off. Just need to have GMC be higher shipping than what is quoted on the site. As long as the GMC is higher, it doesn't matter if it's off. It just needs to be, GMC just needs to be higher. So that's the way to get around that too. If you're just like, crap, I can't identify my website cost with GMC. So just know that that's going to be an issue. What's your recommendation to set the right portfolio CPA bid when lacking conversions? I don't. I would actually recommend running manual. That's my first and foremost. Manual is going to give you 2 things. When there's no conversions, if you run manual, you're going to identify position for lead generation or what your position should be for e-commerce. I'm imagining if you're running portfolio CPA bidding, you're talking lead generations. Run manual because your positioning is going to directly affect your lead quality. Not a lot of people like, Google something, then ignore the first 4, pass through all of the organic, then go down the bottom and be like, aha, that's my first area to look. Usually get the leftovers and the people that can't work with the people at the top, which means they can't usually work it with you as well. So I would just say, look at your positioning first with running manual. And then when you run manual, then you can say, okay, well, if I were to spend X for a lead, or a sale, this is what I would normally get. And then set your CPA bidding that way. That's my opinion there. Constantly look at Militia poaching our talent. I know. That's what my Google rep said. That's awesome. Hey there, guys. Quick question. Do you guys have a process to use Google for idea validation? Let's say you have an idea and you want to see if the market is interested in it. My opinion, check Keyword Planner. Check Keyword Planner first. Keyword Planner is going to give you the kind of like, if you were to do this. And a good way to do that is take a competitor's URL, stick it into Keyword Planner as a start with a website rather than start with a keyword. Stick the competitor's URL in there and then just see what is my competitor looking like they're going to pay for the keywords that I would probably test. Identify between top of page low range, top of page high range. Just know that you're going to be in between there and say, is this worth it? Keyword Planner can give you a whole bunch of good data. Just know that it's going to be 60 to 70% accurate. So, take it with a grain of salt. But it's going to give you really good trends. Like, is there competition? Is there enough monthly ad spend? Is there enough, budget? Build a keyword portfolio strategy, and then actually run it as a scenario and inside a Keyword Planner and say, like, if I got a 4% conversion rate and I was spending X amount per day, what would come out? And then rebuild it that way. So Keyword Planner would be my first area. If you try to actually run Google for an idea validation, you're just going to say, well, your quality score is bad because your website's not built out enough, or you didn't spend enough, you didn't bid high enough. There's so many things that are going to limit you from actually running it. Check Keyword Planner, dig around through there first. So my Google rep said Performance Max is really meant to supplement existing campaigns, not be a standalone. That's true. It didn't work. And they're like, there's an error and we're working on fixing it. So Performance Max should be standalone. It's not. It steals from everywhere. So absolutely, if it does work when it should be a supplemental, which I'm excited about. But it's not. It steals from everything else. And Google has said there's an error that we're working on. So we'll see what happens. Kasim, when are you getting a haircut, bro? It's awesome. Where is Kasim on the stream? He's chatting in. I think he's watching. He says, I'm here to troll John. And Dave, he says he's never cutting his hair, which is probably true. It's like, that's kind of our duo, like Batman and Robin. And you get to decide who's Batman, who's Robin. But he's got the long hair. I have no hair. Together, we're just two normal people. It kind of works out. Hey, John, my smart shopping campaign was performing well. It always had a target ROAS of 300%, but in the last 2 months, impressions are decreasing a lot, 1/3 of before. What would you suggest? Most likely, either you have a decay of the finite audience that you're targeting with T-ROAS, or your competitor moved in, or traffic costs gone up, or yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff. I would just recommend removing the T-ROAS, let it reset. Again, T-ROAS is if when you say, hey, I'm going to lock you into a box, and soon that box will decay. So you have to let that out of the box. So I would absolutely recommend removing that T-ROAS. I have about 2 minutes left, everyone, before I have to hop off for a 10:30 call, but I'm going to get through as many as I can. Hey, Kasim, what are you going to do? Rapid fire Q&A. John always be flexing. That's right. Recognize. Will it be good if I take top selling products, run a separate smart shopping campaign? A smart shopping campaign has been running for the last 4 months and haven't converted. Yes. So we found that with separating smart shopping campaigns, we've been testing it more and more. Now that ID came out as a new parameter, I would say that you can do a smart shopping separate products, like what they call a top sellers and everything else, and then use Pareto's 80-20 rule. So top sellers is 20% of the products that sell 80%. That gets 80% of the budget, and then vice versa for the small ones. So Cosmo calls my question to get skips. Googler's. Oh yeah, yep, yeah. I'm going through them. I was just seeing his responses to yours. Again, it should be, but it's not. It hopefully will be a supplemental campaign. It's just for some reason stealing everything. What's the best Google display video format for ticketing event to 1, generate leads, 2, generate sales? What is the best Google display video format for ticketing event? Man, I wouldn't do display. I would do YouTube and Discovery. That's my opinion. I like Discovery now. It's been doing pretty good with CPA and ROAS, but I would just say YouTube and Discovery. Just make sure you have set your daily ad spend to 16 times what your target CPA is. So if your target CPA is $100, you need $1,600 a day. Just know that that's where it's going to optimize. So it's going to be expensive. Hopefully that works. I need to see you two standing next to each other to decide who is Batman. He's like 10 feet taller than I am. So just by default, Batman's is taller than Robin, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. Thanks, Dave. Now we can run separate smart shopping campaigns. The data will be shared between the two. Yes. You can run separate smart shopping campaigns. They will share data between them. Thank God, now that Google has ID instead of just ecom priority. But yeah, you can separate them out by margin, by volume, by top performing products, by category. Kind of taking all of the old standard shopping campaign and inherit it to smart shopping. That's all the time I have for today. I'm so sorry, everyone. I know that there's been people that I didn't get to, so I'm going to drop my email here. If you have some questions that have not been answered, shoot me an email. I'll get to it within the next 1 or 2 days. And I'll see you all next week. Thanks so much, everyone. Take care.